I think I have a good shot. I want to be like one of the best cross-country runners in high school ever. That's my goal that I set at the beginning of the season, and that's what I'm trying to realize here. So in order to do that, I probably do have to win the national championships. So that's what I'm going to try and do, and we'll see how that goes.
That was Jackson Spencer today on the Running Effect podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Schlieder. Thrilled you've clicked on today's conversation with one of the top athletes in the entire country in high school right now. Every year, I kind of welcome back on who I think is going to be at the top of the podium in December and June. And Jackson is certainly leading that charge. He just set a course record at Clovis. He did things that Newberry Park, Nico Young, the other runners from Newberry Park couldn't do. And he ran 14:16.9, breaking, I think, an 18-year course record, and maybe longer than that, maybe shorter, something around that time amount. And so Jackson's well on his way to history, to greatness. As he talks about in this conversation, he wants to have a senior year that people talk about in terms of dominance and some of the greatest runners to do it in the high school era. Really enjoyed this conversation. If you enjoy it, pass it with a friend. The easiest way in which we can grow is through you guys doing that. Give us a 5-star review. It takes 5 seconds to do, and hit the follow button so you don't miss more conversations like this in the future. Without further ado, I hope you all enjoy this conversation with the man, the myth, the legend, Jackson Spencer. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, taking over the country by storm, Jackson Spencer, across the screen from me. Jackson, how you doing, man? How you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing excellent. It's an honor and privilege to welcome you on. People keep asking, when's Jackson going to come on the pod? We're here to silence those people. We are men of the people. We are bringing them on. Jackson, we're kind of in that point of the season where we're deep in it. You've had a bunch of races, but we're also far out enough from postseason that you're still putting in the work, stacking in the miles. How do you feel as we stand recording this on October 22nd?
I feel great. I just got a pretty dang hard workout done, and I crushed it, so I'm really happy about that.
What was the workout, if you can spill the tea?
So it's hard to explain, but it's 3 by 1200 and like a 1200 at 3200 pace, and then like a 2-minute jog, and then like 400 at like a pretty much just a fast 400, and then 4-minute jog, and then 2 minutes off, and then 3 by that. So it's some, I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it is. So yeah.
I mean, you're running 2-mile pace for more than 2 miles for a cross-country workout. I feel like it's pretty intense. So at what point in that workout did it start to get hard for you? Did you have to start to grit your teeth?
I got hard like 1 rep in. Like after the first rep, I was like, oh, how am I going to finish this? But I mean, as I do every workout, I got it done. So it's good.
I actually think I remember Coach Souls doing that workout back in the day at Great Oak. So I'm not shocked to hear you had that workout. Speaking of him, because he was inevitably going to come up in the podcast, so why not, talk about him earlier on. What's it like having such an excellent coach as your coach? And how cool is it to know that he's had such a history of excellence? Like, you look at that workout and it's like, oh, he did this at Great Oak when they had success. So what's it like to fully trust your coach and know that he's going to take you to all the places you ultimately want to go?
It's just great to have someone who knows exactly what he's doing, and just, I mean, over the course of many workouts, I've learned that it's just better to trust him than to do anything other than what he says, honestly. So it's just been, it's been great just leaving that part of trying to figure out workouts just behind and just doing what my coach is telling me. And it's just great having that peace of mind doing my workouts, knowing that they'll elevate me up into a higher level.
How has the last few years built trust? What's the progression and process been like coming in as a freshman, maybe not knowing Coach Souls that well, to ultimately becoming a senior and now having a lot of trust that he can take you to where you want to go?
Actually, I transferred to Herriman High School my junior year. So that's when I was getting really serious about running fast and stuff. So going into junior year is pretty fun. Just having a group of guys like Tayshawn and the Tangs. Those guys are just the best. Oh my word, I miss them so much. But it's great to have that group of kids that we were all able to just crush all the workouts together and just we had a crazy good mindset there. And it's translated over here to this year's team a little better, even though I'm not doing the workouts necessarily with everyone, since I mean, I'm just a little bit ahead of them in the workouts, but it is still great to be able to set an example and to be able to like let them know that it's possible to get really good in the sport.
What was the shift like transferring from your old high school to your new one? Apologies for not knowing that.
You're
Did you
good.
feel a big shift in the atmosphere and the culture and the workouts? Like, what was that switch like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a big shift. So, coming into going out of like sophomore year, I mean, I had all my I miss all my friends, you know, from back from Syracuse, but yeah, like it's totally different. Like there, it was more like we would do like kind of more. It would be more like what's the word for it? I don't know. It's like random kind of, but yeah, it would just be like I don't know, a really hard workout here, and then like a really easy week, and then another couple of hard workouts. It was just inconsistent almost, but it's still really good. Like I don't know, my I was able to be more of an example there more so than I was at Herriman, honestly, because just Syracuse, the kids were just like not they weren't like fully into it, but they weren't fully out of it. I think since I've left, it's actually gotten a lot better. But yeah, when I was there, I was able to. I don't know. It was different for sure. And then I came to Harriman, and it was just more of like a completely structured program. And it was just like I mingled up with all these elite guys, and I was like, oh my word, how am I? It was crazy. It was just being able to like mutual like it was just a mutual benefit from being part of the Harriman team for sure.
Take me through your start in the sport of running, and what was the point that you realized you were really, really good at the sport? Because last year being your first year at Harriman, you knocked it out of the park. So I'm curious if there was a point in your running career where you're like, oh, this is my thing. I'm on a really good trajectory here.
I don't know. It's I've always had that mindset of where even though it like before like even high school I wasn't all that great, but I wasn't bad. So like but in my mind I was the best ever. So it was like even though that wasn't the case then, it was just like I mean, it's honestly like fake it till you make it type of thing where you just got to be believing in yourself and just trusting that you can do all these great things. Um, it is just I don't know. There wasn't a specific point when I knew that I was gonna be fast. I always just kind of thought that I was gonna be fast, but yeah, it's just that's kind of the gist of it.
As you mentioned there, you've always had confidence, but there's a difference between, as you said, in middle school, you weren't the best, so you were maybe really confident, but the results didn't quite match up with being the best. And now, you sit here as a senior, and I think you can make an argument last year as a junior, having that swagger and then having the results to back it. What's it feel like now as a senior to maybe still have that confidence of, I'm the best, but now start to have the results where, as we'll get into, you're breaking iconic course records. It's like, oh, okay, this is no longer a dream or a visualization. Like this is real life.
Yeah, it just makes me feel like I'm where I belong in the sport, and it's just I'm kind of like there, you know, like after all those years of believing in myself and trusting the process, I've finally been able to be into where I was like in my dreams, you know. It's kind of cool. But yeah, it's still there's still more part of the process to go, so I'm not completely there yet, but it's been great to be here so far, and I'm excited to see where else I can go.
You talked about the squad from last year you were a part of, as well as them were a part of the 4x8 squad that ran the national high school record of 7:26 at New Balance Nationals outdoor. How crazy of an experience was that? Take me through the camaraderie of that squad ultimately doing it and all that went into that race.
It was crazy. That the 4x8 record was the one that we were looking at. Our the whole even in the cross country season, we were looking at that record. It was the elusive one that Souls couldn't get with any of his teams. So we were the team that wanted to get that. So and we did all our math. We figured what our PRs would look like at the end of the season. At the beginning of the season, we figured that out. And we put out like a roadmap to get that and to like make that come to fruition. And we were pretty dang spot on with where our predictions were. So it was really, really good with how that happened. So it's definitely a thing that was like at least 1 year. Like for Souls, it was way too many years in the making. But for us, it was like, for me personally, it was like a year in the making. But it was great. Like being able to actually break that record. Like I came through with 200, like I had 200 to go. I was like, oh my word, you need to grit this out in order to get the record. And like I heard all my teammates cheering me on, and I just heard the announcer like kind of flipping out. And I was like, oh my word, this is possible. This is like, I'm in this position that I can do it. So I just had to grind out those last 200. And then, yeah, we got it. It's crazy.
Did you like having the pressure of being the anchor, or was that a little terrifying?
I was always the anchor on every team, so I've gotten used to it. But yeah, it's definitely like a thing. Like it's stressful running alone, but at the same time, it's not. It's easier in my opinion because you're not like fighting with all these people. You're just in your own lane, going your own pace, and it just works out for me better that way. So I'm glad that I was the anchor.
Obviously, as the anchor, you have the privilege of seeing what the three people in front of you run. I'm sure that's also a little bit terrifying where you're doing math in real time of where are we at while also trying to prepare for your own, section of the relay to try and give your team the best chance, not just of setting the record, but also of winning. What was that like watching the three legs go down in front of you? And how much math are you playing? Like, what was that process like as you waited for those, I don't know, 6 minutes and change, 5 minutes and change?
Most stressful couple of minutes I could say of my life, honestly. It was crazy. Just seeing, I saw Jonah. Jonah went 154. I was like, oh no, hopefully not all of us do that because then we wouldn't be on the record pace. But he was up in the fighting. He was there. And then, yeah, he handed off to Micah. Micah did all his fighting in the first lap to get to the front. And by the end of the race, he was starting to fade a little bit. So I think he got us into third place there, but he did a faster split than Jonah. So I was like, okay, this is possible. And then he hands it off to the absolute dog, Tayshawn Agomo. And Tay rips it from the front. He just goes, he catches those two guys that were in the lead, and then he puts a whole gap on them in the last lap or in his last lap. And I was like, okay, whatever the heck Tay ran, it's got to be fast. So this is definitely possible. And then I grabbed the baton and it was just go from there. And I was just like, okay, this has to be the race where you break 150. And this has to be the race where you're the one that's going to be the star, you know? And I was able to do that. Even though I still didn't have the fastest lap relay of the relay because Tayshawn had a 148. I'd learned that after the race and I was like, oh my word, like it's crazy what it takes to do such a record. But like it was great being able to come through that and actually realizing the record. I was totally like dying after that. Like I was puking my guts out and everything for the next like 30 minutes. It was like, but it's totally worth it.
Personal accomplishments are obviously gratifying, but what I think a lot of times is the most special for a lot of people are those moments with the team. Outside of puking your guts out, as you said, what was that moment like with your three teammates who helped make this possible? And then with Coach Souls, who, as you said, wanted this record for years but couldn't get it done with other teams.
Yeah, it was a surreal moment just standing there. Like all the guys, the three guys around me were celebrating, they were hugging me. I was just like in my mind I was like, "Ugh, I'm dead. I can't survive anymore." But like there was definitely a part in the back of my mind that was like, "We got the record." It was like, "We got it. We realized it. We did it." And you know how you feel like really accomplished after a run. That's kind of how it always is, and that's how I was feeling. And then yeah, coach honestly was just acting like he expected it. He always does. But yeah, it was great to be able to have him there and just supporting us and in our getting our pictures and everything. It was just super cool.
Coach Souls, what are any Coach Souls soul isms? Like you said, he kind of expected it. Is he pretty calm, cool, collected most of the time? Does he get fired up?
Yeah,
I've had him on the podcast before. I don't. You probably just joined the team when I had him on the podcast. And he seems to be like a coach who like shares his vision and sticks by it to a T and calls people out for it, which I kind of love that energy. What's it been like receiving it?
yeah, it's been crazy. So like he's definitely a calm, cool, collected coach. But like he does have his moments when he's like you can see the fire in his eyes when he just wants us to do better, and it's definitely like our team will realize when he like wants us to be running a little better than we have been, and we'll put our total efforts into the workouts that he in order to like prove ourselves type of thing. But yeah, it's been crazy to see what he's done for the team. It's definitely like I'm glad to have him as a coach. Like I couldn't have asked for a better coach, honestly, for high school. He works for me. He works with me, and then yeah, we work for him as well. So it's just crazy having him being like he's kind of like a role model. Honestly, it's crazy.
I feel like this past spring was the first time that you really got your taste of the national races. You also raced Festival of Miles where you had a really good performance there. How do you feel like those races set you up for ultimately your senior year, just having a little more experience? Even these cross country races, you're seeing guys you're more familiar with because you raced with them at the national level. How valuable do you think a lot of the experiences you had this past spring are moving forward?
I'm glad to definitely have the experience of racing on a national level various times on my junior year, especially like in relays where I just get shoved up to the front and I just have to hold it, or like in individual events like HOKA or like Arcadia where I just have to like shut up and do my own thing and compete with the guys myself. It's a very good experience to have being able to go into my senior year because senior year is like is more of a national scale type of thing. Um, but yeah, I'm just glad to be able to have that experience going into senior year.
Let's talk about the cross season so far. So you have a good track season, take a break, start training again. What were the goals going into the season? Once you started to start getting those base miles in, have those conversations with Coach Souls, teammates, family, friends. What were the goals going into this one?
So far my goals have been, um, to I guess to break the Timpanogos record, which I was able to do. I also wanted to break the Woodbridge record, but the week before, coach told me that I had to. It'd be better if I just didn't go all out at Woodbridge. So it's a shame that I wasn't able to do that record. But then yeah, I after Woodbridge I was like, oh, I was just begging coach to let me do an all out race. So then come Clovis, my goal was for German's record. And then I raced all out and I was able to get that one. So it's really good. So yeah, I've been able to get most of my goals so far.
What was that race like at Clovis? Breaking down a legendary record. You look at, the Youngs, Newberry Park. None of them can do it. You ultimately come in, get the job done a few years later. What was that moment like?
It was so surreal. Oh my word. I honestly thought it was just going to be another mediocre race when I was coming into the first mile because at that point I was 5 seconds back from anyone who else, or from, I guess I was going off of what Nico Young ran, on his times. So those were the splits I was trying to hit. But yeah, I was 5 seconds back at the mile and I was like, oh no, I gotta push harder. And it definitely motivated me to come through to push a lot harder. So yeah. And then I came through the second mile. I went down those hills, went up those hills was through the second mile, I think. No, the hills was before the second mile. I went up those hills. I felt surprisingly good after I went up the hills and I was like, this is a new feeling. And then yeah, I come through the 2 mile mark. Um I think 2 seconds back of what Nico did. And then I was like, okay, Jackson, you gotta race to the finish. In my head, I was like, it's downhill. In reality, it was uphill. But yeah, the final mile, it was just go from there. I was able to crest that final annoying hill, right before the rollers, And then yeah, the rollers I was able to pick up a lot of speed, which carried my momentum into the final bit of the race. And yeah, once the actual finishing time clock got into view, I was in so much pain at that point. But I looked at it, I saw like 13:40 something, and I was like, I could do this. And yeah, it was like I only had like 30 seconds left to run at that point, and I was just like, you might as well give it everything you got. So yeah, I was able to unlock my final gears, and I was just able to hammer down that last 200. And yeah, I came through, and I crushed the record. And I was like, oh my word, it's crazy that how that stuff is like possible. But yeah, it was a wild race, crazy.
Is it crazy that you're running 14:16 on the grass for 5K? Did that ever seem real?
I don't know. Like before going into that race, 1420 was like that's fast. But now that I've done it on a hilly course, I'm like, what else can I do? Like, what else is possible? It's crazy. Like I didn't know that I was able to run that. Like honestly, I thought I was gonna run like 1422. And like the night before I was having dreams that I was running 1430 and I was like, oh. But it was crazy. I don't know what else I have in store, but I can't wait to see. I can't wait to find out.
What's the calendar look like the rest of the year?
I got state, which is a week from now actually. So it's pretty exciting race. And then I think the rest of the team is doing a pre NXR race. I'm not gonna do that. I'm next for me after that is NXR, and then yeah, NXN, and then I got invited to go to the New Brooks race. So I'm probably gonna do that. And then hopefully, if all goes well, I'll have Worlds in like a month after that. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the schedule will be like.
You've won the races, you've broken the records at this point. National title, I'm sure, has to be on your mind. How do you view trying to go get your chip? You've approached it from the team side. I'm sure you want one individually. How do you feel about your chances, and what does the preparation for a national championship look like?
I don't know. I think I have a good shot. I went into this season just, I think I want to be like the best. I want to be like one of the best cross country runners in high school ever. And that's my goal that I set at the beginning of this season. And that's what I'm trying to realize here. So in order to do that, I probably do have to win the national championships. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And we'll see how that goes.
I love it. What's the level of energy like in practice these days, knowing that you're kind of in the final month of really, really hard work that's going to lead up to the fitness that will ultimately get you to a national championship?
It's been more like honestly, it's been more team oriented at this point, but like I just need to trust in my body. Like I don't need to look at the paces. I don't need to look at what I'm running in the workouts. All that matters is the races. So as long as I know I'm fit enough to run fast in those races, workouts, as long as I put in a good effort in the workouts, it was a good workout. So I'm just glad that's kind of the mindset that I've had doing my workouts so far, and that's probably what I'll keep doing. So.
It seems every year the class gets elevated a little bit more and a little bit more, and cross country is kind of when things start to shake out. For you, how do you feel about your class of 26? And how crazy, class of 25 was so stacked. A bunch of those guys graduate. You're now kind of leading the torch for the class of 26. How do you feel about it?
I think this class is honestly, well, the class of 27 is the most stacked class I've ever seen. So it's like having to go up against those guys is like, wow. And then, but yeah, class of 26 is still really good because, I mean, like, we got a ton of guys that are poking their heads out, being able to run these fast times that, like, there's like, I don't know how many, like, there's like over I think there's like 15 sub 14 35Ks so far this year. That's just astronomical because it was like that was what the number was at the end of last year. But we're in like the middle of the season this year. So it's like, dang, I think there's a lot more kids that are going to be able to break that barrier and run faster. So this class is definitely, no hate to the class of 25, but I think this class is definitely a lot better. So.
Hey, I would expect you to say that. I don't think I've ever asked that question to a kid and they'd be like, "Oh, that class was better." Happened with the class 23, the class 24, class 25. So you're just carrying on the tradition, the torch. You got to have some pride for your class. So
Of
I
course.
respect it. I'm still waiting though. Festival of Miles every year. I mean, the fall ruined things this past year, but I thought this year would be the year to to put themselves over the class of 23, and it just didn't happen. So who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe next year.
That was the tactical class, honestly. Like every race, every
Which
big
was just
race.
annoying, by the
Yeah.
way. It was annoying. Just race, run times.
That's what I'm hoping our class will do. Fix better, you know. Yeah, last year was tough because I was stuck behind everyone, running not a desirable pace, and then it left it up to whoever had the best kick, and usually it's just Josiah and Owen. So it made it easy for them to win, but no one else was able to show up and do their thing. So, but yeah, I'm glad this year. I'm thinking it's gonna be more of like an actual honest racing type of class. So I'm just excited to be part of that.
Would you say you're more of a cross guy or track guy?
I'd say I'm more of a cross guy. I like cross better. I mean, I've been able to show up in track all the same, but like cross is just where I belong. I feel like I don't know. It's always been that way.
You look towards your future, your senior year, national meets go pretty far. So we'll say end of June next year. What do you want people to say about, your final campaign, your senior year of high school, looking back on it?
I don't know. I want them to. I want everyone to forget about the all the. Maybe not forget, but like I want them to view me as like another one of those like the what's his name, like the Gary, like the class of 22. I don't know, like Gary Martin, Reinhardt Harrison, like that was a big thing. And then come the Newbury Park era, I kind of want to just be the next thing like that. I just want to be another topic of discussion that way. So
I love it, man. I love it. Final question for you here today. Let's get back to the people listening. What's a piece of advice for those who are inspired by you and aspire to be in your shoes one day?
I just say to believe in yourself and just I don't know, just never follow the path of discouragement.
Short, sweet, right to the point. I love it, man. Jackson, really appreciate my time with you. Learned a lot. Excited to see the rest of the things you do this season. Before I let you go, question I ask every guest on every single podcast: if you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
Oh, shoot. I could get anything. What's like a super fancy thing? Like, I don't know. I want him to make me some ratatouille.
Oh, okay. It's a banger
Yeah.
movie. It's a banger movie if you
Hmm.
haven't seen it. Best Pixar
Exactly.
movie
I've
of all
seen
time, in my opinion.
it.
Well, Jackson, really appreciate the time. Best of luck this season. Keep crushing it, and we'll have to have you back on the podcast after you do all the things you said you were going to do today. And
Of
excited to see it all go down, man. Appreciate you.
course. Have a good one.